welcome to Heal Hot Girl.
Hello, hello.
Hi, everyone.
LB.
This is your wellness bestie, Jess.
And I'm Samantha.
Welcome to the 5th episode of the Heal Hot Girl podcast.
Cinco.
Hello.
How are we doing today, ladies?
You know, we're well. I am well. We are really just...
I didn't know you guys were panda twins right now.
Okay.
So cute.
I know my pandas are tired of me, okay? My pandas are
Look,
like, girl, we
everybody's-
done went everywhere in these damn
Look,
sneakers.
I asked the sneaker guy about it, and he said everybody's pandas are tired. So it's not it's not just ours.
so true.
Everybody's pandas are tired.
The pandas have, like, damn, y'all.
There's
like,
a new-
they have worn us out, okay?
Yeah. They're just like the good old faithful.
I know,
Yeah.
they're
You know what
shoe.
I mean, the women probably know. The men do too. They have
just
that
matches
one
with
woman.
everything.
Yeah.
They have that one guy. The good old faithful.
No, it
good
is.
old
And these are them.
And I'm not like a sneakerhead by like any means.
At
Like
all.
never have been. And so I don't own like a ton of sneakers because I just don't like wear them on a frequent basis until I'm like trying to find a fit to pot in, and I'm like, pandas again, pandas again, pandas again.
I feel like if pandas could talk, like, you know how Skis wrote like a song about the burner phone? Like, Skis needs to write a song about the pandas. Like,
No, that's a fact.
because the pandas got stories to tell.
Yeah,
I know
that's
they
true,
do.
too.
They definitely got
They-
some
They
stories.
definitely do. The pandas.
And these pandas are fresh off of like
I
Saturday.
was saying, like, what
Sunday.
stories did those pandas
Listen,
tell?
I just wore these. Still got the dirt on them from 12 stories last Sunday. Okay,
Jeez.
these are
Oh my
weeks
gosh.
ago. That's what those have, and so I just put them back in the box, and I was like, well, until next time, my friends. Like, see you
When you-
soon.
Oh, man.
It's a great kick, honestly.
Yeah.
We'll get more
No,
dunks.
Yeah. Once we
If
start.
there's anyone that wants to sponsor, partner with your
Yeah.
hot girl, we'll love to wear sneakers.
Just anything really, we
Yeah.
will wear
Merch.
clothes, merch, sneakers, like anything like
I like
that.
slippers.
Slippers.
Same. Anyway.
We'll plug it up.
Yeah.
What's on the
Guys.
agenda today? Are we starting with a card? What do we start with?
I think we
What do
should.
have
Let's
for
start it
today?
up.
All right.
Have you pulled? Who's pulled?
Sure.
See, the thing with LB pulling is that she shuffles this like it's a
tarot
it's
card
a tarot
deck?
card deck, and then look, she bends my cards. Ah!
That was a cue telling me don't bend my cards. They're all over the place. All right, I'm just gonna pick one.
Dun dun dun.
Ooh,
Let's see. Wow, she loves not being in the hot seat.
the best. What haven't I given myself permission to feel recently?
Well, I spoke a little bit about it on the last episode, and it was permission to just allow myself to feel some of the connections that I've had to let go. And in the midst of it, throughout it, I'm like, I'm good. Because, again, I could be real badass. I'm straight, like, F this, and occupy myself. I'm really good at occupying myself. And so giving myself permission to, that was the question, right? Sorry.
What haven't I given myself permission to feel recently?
Yeah, and so something in particular was just letting go of connections that I know are no longer serving me, having to accept that. I spoke a little bit about that on the last episode, but yeah, feeling the aftermath of it. I think overall, the basis of it is just more so allowing myself to really feel my feelings. And I don't think we really understand what it is to like feel your feelings when literally the moment that you feel that is like sitting with it and not judging yourself or having the inner dialogue that I was speaking about, and allowing it to just be. Yeah.
That's a good answer.
I'm like, are you gonna give yours?
What haven't I given myself permission to feel? I don't really like to feel anything that isn't happy and status quo. Like I have joked about this for a while. Like if I had a feelings chart, mine would be like happy, okay, and angry. And those are like the feelings on my feeling chart. And like anything outside of that is very foreign to me. And I don't really like to let myself feel those feelings. And I think one in particular is like disappointment. Because like I hustle my way out of everything. There's no disappointment. I'm going to fix it, right? Like, or I'm going to change it, or I'm going to, I don't know. But, like, there's certain things you can't fix and change. You know what I mean? Like, there's certain things that, like, you just have to, like, accept and, like, allow yourself to feel disappointed. You know what I mean? It's like, yeah, that sucks. But also I find that when I let myself feel those feelings, it goes away a lot quicker. Like, that feeling of disappointment, like, goes away a lot quicker when I'm like, you're disappointed. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I allow myself, otherwise I'm like, you're not disappointed, fuck this, blah, 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 blah. I go into my angry bag, right?
Right.
Yeah.
But, like, I'm not feeling it when I'm in my angry bag. I'm literally avoiding the feeling of hurt and disappointment. So that's one that I don't like to feel.
I agree with that, because it's also level setting in a sense of, to your point, if you acknowledge it, it doesn't prolong as
it doesn't
long.
become as big,
Correct.
right? Like, the feeling becomes bigger when you, like, pretend it doesn't exist.
When it's suppressed,
Yeah.
it then comes out in different forms, and then it'll come out. It'll come out also during a period in which, like, how it is that you want to be able to express yourself isn't going to create a productive kind of dialogue between you and that person, or whatever, or even yourself, because it could just be something that you're in conflict with. But yeah, I resonate with that too.
What about you,
Disappointment.
Alyssa?
Yeah.
Oh my god. I thought I was off the hot seat today. I thought I was Oprah today.
What,
I thought I was the moderator to feel.
What haven't you given yourself permission to feel recently?
I mean, I think that I can understand when you say you don't want to feel anything, because I think that no, for real. Because I think that in life, like, it's so much easier for me to maneuver every day when there's not feelings involved. Like, when there's not things that I have to, like, work through or, like, think about or, like, deal with. Because, again, I do it for a living. So it's a lot easier for me to not think about my feelings and to deal with other people's things, because it's literally what I do all day. So for me to, like, really actually feel or I guess put a name to it, maybe.
Yeah, giving
more
a name
than anything.
to your
Finding the right
feelings is-
adjective.
Right,
It's
because it's like
powerful.
you feel things, but it's like then you just move to another part of your day, and especially my days, I wake up, I commute into work, I work all day, I commute back home, I have to take care of my dog. Like, there's just things that it makes it easy to not. It makes it easy to just get lost in whatever show I'm watching, walking my dog, making dinner, and then just do the same thing the next day. So I think that creating space for me to think about how I am feeling has really been something that I'm trying to work on, and just sorting through a lot of other things. But I think just acknowledging feelings, what they are and what they're attached to, is something that I'm working towards. Because to be honest, yeah, it's really easy for me to direct my attention elsewhere all day, every day.
How often do we check in with ourselves? You know, I feel like that's part of the reason why when I do those posts, it's like, have you checked in with yourself? Because to LB's point, we don't wake up and think about how we're feeling.
No.
You know, or even one of the things that you guys both do, you guys are meditating. And so you'll meditate throughout the day. LB's expressed that she's now trying to actively meditate before she gets up out of bed. I have my moments where I like to do it right before bed and then try to fall asleep into it. I'm like, what space am I going to get into?
We manifest right
No,
into this
seriously, I'm not
sleep
kidding.
and
I'm like,
manifestations.
no, literally. But I think it's important for all of our listeners to take that moment right now as you're listening to check in with yourself and ask yourself how you're feeling and identify what that is. Give it a name, because there is a name to the way that you feel. So yeah, just wanted to give everyone that reminder.
There's a feelings chart if anybody else needs it. You just look up the word feelings chart. Sometimes, I'm not even kidding you, I'll go back and I'm like, you're feeling angry. What other feelings are associated with anger? And it's like confusion, shame. So like I'll literally go through the feelings where I'm like, which of these feel like that's what I'm doing now, because I'm again like I'm happy, angry.
Okay.
Those are the feelings that I grew up with, right?
Wow.
Like I'm nothing in between. So now like all these new words are like, you know, they're like opening a new world of like feelings. But yeah, I literally go through the feelings wheel. So Check it out.
My mom the other day, I woke up a little agitated, and I just shouldn't say I woke up. Like, I just, throughout the day, I may have been a little agitated. She was like, you need a happy pill. I'm like,
Okay.
well,
Jo.
what if today I wanted the okay pill, Mom?
Yeah.
Just kidding.
Yeah.
But speaking of moms, it's going to be Mother's Day.
It is gonna be Mother's Day.
And Mother's Day is May, what, 14th? May 14th?
I think so. Yeah, sounds
Yeah,
about
May
right.
14th.
that
It's
the
going to
Sunday?
be Mama's
Yes.
Day.
I was just trying to check my note. 14th. Yes.
Yeah.
Is Mother's Day, May 14th.
Ooh. So, since we're on the topic of Mama Days, I came with questions today, y'all.
Clearly.
Me and Sam are over here like, I'm sorry, was there an agenda that she made without us? Because I'm confused.
This wasn't none of these. The agenda is not agending the way it's supposed to.
It's just a guide.
No, Mother's Day. Mother's Day.
Yeah, no, we did.
Mother's
We
Day.
wanted to talk about this.
I
Well, what's your
wanted,
questions?
I
Yeah,
wanted
what
us to
did
speak
you-
about. I did share with you. I wanted us to talk about the love language that our mothers have taught us. I think it's important for us to acknowledge the women who birthed us or who have played a role in our lives as mother figures. So, who wants to go first? I could start if y'all want me to start.
Oh, we would love
Yeah,
for you
I'd
to
love you to
start.
start. Your idea? I think you should spark it. Let's see. Come on. We need a template.
The love okay, so the 5 love languages, let's run through them real
I was
quick.
going to say, because I was
let's
over
run
here
the-
like, oh, let me Google
Yeah,
them
no.
while she says
So
this, because
it's-
I don't know.
It's physical touch in no specific order.
Okay.
Physical touch, quality time, acts of service, words of affirmation, and gifts.
Okay.
Okay. The love language that my mom taught me is definitely words of affirmation. I'm gonna say top 3: physical touch and gifts. Acts of service, yeah, gifts.
Can you elaborate on why you think that?
Yes. So growing up, my mom is very like touchy-feely. And so I associate like part of like how I give off love to certain people, because not everyone wants to be fucking touched.
She's giving me a side eye like.
Say, Sam.
She's giving me a hard side eye like.
No, but
She's waiting for Sam to be like, not me.
no, I'm not kidding. Like Cece's the type of friend that she'll pet me. Like she would like just like right. But everyone has their own dynamic. But anyway, my mom, physical touch growing up was something that was like hugs, cuddles. You're sick. The warmth, the feeling of like comfort. She gave that, and that was something that she was consistently giving. Not to say, Ma, you don't give all 5. I'm just saying top 3.
She'd be like, Jessica.
Quality time. I have a lot of fun memories with my mom. We used to do a lot of things together, whether she'd take me to pottery or she was taking me to piano class. As I got older, traveling together, some of my fondest memories with my mom is us being abroad, because we have a lot of things in common as far as like food and like dancing and just like vibes. So quality time there, physical touch, and then gifts. If you know my mom, she's just very like extra and elaborate with a lot of different things. And so there have been some memorable gifts that she has given me in certain milestones in my life that I still hold on to. So
Love that.
yeah.
I like that too.
What about you, Ellie?
The hot seat is hot seating. I would say quality time, acts of service, and kind of touch, physical touch. My mom is definitely a toucher. No, not in like not a crazy way, but I wouldn't say it's like she's a hugger.
Yeah.
And like when you come in her house, she'll hug you, or like, but she isn't. It's not like overboard. But I would say definitely acts of service, because my mom is just really good at making sure we have everything we need. I mean, just like down to pencil pouches and like, I mean, she just always makes sure that like, do you have this? Do you have this? Do you have this? And if you don't, you know, like she was just visiting me in DC. And like we went to Costco and she stocked up on stuff for me to have meals for the next however long. She, you know, filled up my gas tank. She just does little things like that. Like last time we were recording, even today before we came here, she was like, what do you girls need? You know, should I give you some snack packs and some water?
Yes,
and
please.
like, yeah, like she thinks of everything, like down to just like the smallest detail. She just has it. And so I think that's something that I definitely have translated into things that I like to do for people is just random things that I know that they'll appreciate that maybe they're not thinking of, or maybe that they don't think that I'll think of. I just like to take care of someone in that way so they don't have to worry about things. And then, what was the last one I said? Quality time.
Acts of service.
Acts of service. Oh, quality time, I think, was the one that I haven't touched on. Quality time, acts of service, and physical touch. Quality time, like, same, Jess. My mom, she worked part-time she pretty much worked part-time. My mom raised us. So my dad was always, like, the main breadwinner in the family, like, went to work every day. But my mom really spent a lot, like, she was home. She might work a part-time job, but she was always home when we got home from school. Her Super D dupes are still famous with my friends because she used to make us all fruit smoothies. So, and in the summertime, we would go to museums, parks, picnics. Like, even now, I'll call my mom, like, where are you? I'm hiking. Or, like, she just is a very, like, active person. So, science museum, zoos, historical societies. Church, definitely church. To this day, my parents are still very active in the church. So definitely, I think she just always made sure we made good memories as a family. We always took family vacations in the summer. Not necessarily anything elaborate any of the time, but also my dad's family is very large. So we would have family reunions every other summer growing up. So like my parents would turn wherever, and we would travel throughout the country. So different people would host because our family was so large. So we would travel to Mississippi, LA, Illinois, Georgia, Florida. So my parents would turn these trips into...
You were in the South.
Yes, the dirty South. Because also my dad's family, like my grandma, he's from Syracuse, but they all migrated south. Okay. So like we would always go there most summers to see my grandfather or my grandmother and my uncle and like that whole side of the family. So my parents would turn those vacations into like week-long things. So yes, we're going for the reunion, but
we're going to make it into something,
a family time. Something more. Yeah, but my mom was always on top of that. So I would say that just spending time together and doing things together we ate dinner together every night as a family, which I didn't realize was like kind of uncommon until I was older. I thought everyone's family sat down for dinner. So yeah, I just think my mom really, I mean, she's a matriarch of our family at this point too. We've lost my grandmother and my great aunt. So she just has she has a way of bringing people together and sharing food, sharing space, time.
Love that. We love Lori.
Yeah. Shout out to Laura Bomb, for sure.
My mom was different than y'all's moms. Physical touch was not a thing in my household, which is probably why I get so like weird around it now. And it's not that I don't mind you. I went on a date last week and I was like, physical touch is dead last. Like, don't touch me.
Just don't even take it off the like, pretend it's not there.
Pretend it's not there. Like, if I like you, that's different. Or if I'm comfortable around you, obviously that's different. But, like, don't just walk up and touch me for sure. But, like, so, yeah, I guess what my mom would taught me, and I would say it's going to be a little bit beyond, like, the love languages, because I think that's one of the things in my family that, like, we've all really had to work on is, like, how we show love. Like, I don't think we do a good job of it. We don't communicate. It's part of the reason I'm so, like restricted in my like ability to communicate, I feel like now. But what my mom did show me a lot of was, I think the biggest thing that I took away from my mom was like the example she set, and that's not a love language necessarily. My mom was a single mom, so she was actually barely home. It was me, my brother, my sister just like watching each other making peanut butter sandwiches. I'm like, just like doing the thing. And she was going for nursing too, so it wasn't just like she was working full time, she was going to her school, and then she had like labs and stuff she had to do. So literally she would leave at 7 a.m. We wouldn't see my mom until 10 o'clock at night. I might be in bed before she was even home. So there was never really any like quality time. She wasn't good at like words of affirmation. Physical touch wasn't a thing. For us, it was really acts of service. My mom couldn't be there all the time, so when she could, or when she could give us money, or like gifts too. So like what she could do, she tried to do in abundance. So she would try to like, you know, like she would go above and beyond for you. She would never apologize, but but like she's, dinner's ready downstairs. My mom didn't cook, so dinner's not the right example. But
she's a great baker though.
She loves to make cookies.
Yeah,
if you need cookies, she's phenomenal. Like dinner, I love her. Go elsewhere. But so, yeah, there was none of that. There was no, like, sitting down for meals. There was no communicating. And I think that's why a lot of what I'm doing is, like, unlearning, and that's not to blame my mom either, because like my mom learned what she learned from how to love from other people too. So I learned a lot from my mom about like the woman I wanted to be, and how to be like strong and independent. I learned that that's probably like the greatest love language my mom has given me, is the ability to just get shit done on my own and to know that I could do it because she did. But yeah, acts of service, and she likes to give gifts too.
I love
So,
that.
yeah.
I resonate with that piece. How do you feel, both of y'all, like, does it show up for in how you pursue relationships now, or just how you are in relationships or new connections? How do the love language that you've learned from your maternal side translate to your love side?
I can't maybe comment specifically on like how it makes me show up in romantic relationships. I will say that as a way that I show love to people, it's not apples to apples, but quality time. Because I didn't maybe get that, and then acts of service is definitely something that I've learned from my mom. So like, I like to do things for people, like be thoughtful or whatever. So that's in all of my relationships with people I care about.
Yeah. What about you, Abby?
I think I just like to hold shit down. To be honest, like I think I just saw my mom really like, she just held it down, you know, in every aspect. And I think like she supported my dad so that he could go to work and provide for us. She just took care of everything. Like I was recently talking to somebody and I was like, I think that I was so lucky to have the childhood that I did, because like I got to worry about me. Like I never had to, everything I wanted to do was always supported by my parents, my father included. And so I got to be a kid. Like I got to play outside. I got to go to college. I got to, everything I wanted to pursue, I got to do because my parents took care of everything on the back end, so that like I didn't have to worry about money or like, yeah, of course, like as a kid, I wanted all the new of everything. And my mom taught me how to, she's going to disagree with this because the budget, because I don't budget, actually. I'm a horrible budgeter, like not good with my money to this day. She's like, honey, can you transfer money in your other account, please? Like I'm not good with money. But my mom, like, I'll coupon the shit out of something. Like, Jessica was so excited today when we were shopping because she used a coupon. Like, I'll go to CVS and get half off. Like, so my mom taught me also how to do that, which is like a caveat.
Love a good discount.
Because we used to go, and that was the thing, because we were younger, like, we were really kind of only on one income. So my mom had to be strategic in how she shopped. So, like, we would go grocery shopping, and she taught me, like, okay, you can see when the sale ends, like, on the thing, like, okay, that'll show you what day the sale ends. And then we were at Costco, and she's like literally doing math on like how to figure out what's the best way to like get the most for like, oh, this is 14 quarts for like this amount. And if you divide it by this, then like you're getting and I'm like, okay, whatever, like that's stats to me, and I haven't taken math in a lot of years, but I just the overall general caretaking, I think, is just I was very lucky from both my parents to just be able to focus on what I wanted in my life and what I wanted to do, and I didn't have to take on like any sort of adult responsibilities as a kid, which I think
that's huge.
I didn't even do laundry. I was telling you, I was like, I didn't even do laundry till I went to college. My dad did my laundry.
Listen, I'm telling you,
that's crazy.
Like I still go home and my mom's like, "What do you want to eat? Like, what do you want for breakfast? What do you?" My mom just takes care of, and so I think that for me, like, sometimes to my detriment. But I know someday somebody will appreciate it. But I think I just like to take care of home.
Yeah.
My response is a combo to the both of y'all, because Big Joe is definitely acts of service, but I really, a part of like genetically, I feel like DNA, like I'm just a natural nurturer.
Yeah.
But one thing my mom knows how to do is definitely like show up. No and ifs, what or buts. And there's a certain level of loyalty and just like dedication to her kin that I feel like I'm able to exuberate when it comes to my relationships and dynamics. Like, you're going to get that nurturing side 100%, and you're going to get, like, my loyalty. Like, I am
absolutely
back against the wall. I'm going to show up no matter what. And so with her, definitely, like, I feel like one of the things that I love most about my mom is, even though I grew up very structured. I mean, there was Saturday mornings, we're cleaning. You get home from school, you're taking out chores. You got to fix your bed. When you're like, you weren't, I'm like, no. It was military boot camp style. Like, okay, my sister and I would be on punishment. I was the kid that was typically on punishment all the time, 100%. One time, I swear,
What were you on punishment for?
a lot of things.
I just want to know. I want to know little
my
Jessie.
Mom,
like,
okay,
that's
little
what
Jessie.
It was.
My mom was so strict that like when I was able to walk home from school, mind you, literally not exaggerating, my school was 4 blocks away from my home. 4 blocks. I could not go to the corner pizza shop. That was 1 block away from my school. My mom's rules were once school ends at 2:15. I'm gonna call the house at 2:35. When the phone rings, you better answer.
You better pick up.
Okay. And it was like clockwork. And so there was a point where I was like bad and bougie. I'm not going home. I'm going to the pizza shop. And little things like I'd be a little
I'm still scared of my mom.
I don't know.
I would say my mom would have dragged me up out of that pizza shop and the way she has
Joe
before.
would have too, which is why I don't know
So
if she's
this is-
acting like this.
No, 100%. There was one time where my mom traveled a lot for work. And so there was a time where I was like, I'm going to the park right across the street from my school. I'm not going far, okay?
She was
My
just one of
mom's
those, like,
rules-
let me test the water, like, put my toe in.
My mom's rules, you go straight home. Anyway, I will never forget this day. It lives rent-free in my mind. I was at the top of the slide. Okay? The top of the slide.
You knew going down that shit was going to be bad when you got down to the
Top
bottom.
of the slide, and all you hear is, Jess, your mom.
Your mom.
Yo, when I tell you, when she said, she just did this, and I slid down.
So sad, too.
Yo, the way she you better get in the car. I said, okay. I got in the car. Let me tell you something. And so, memories. Anyway, little Jessie. So I was a kid that was always on punishment. And I don't even know where I was going with this because that diverged me. that was a memory, man. I lost my train of thought, actually.
Well, while you think about that for a second, it reminded me of this time. I was older at this point. I was probably in like maybe 8th or 9th grade. I don't remember exactly what grade I was in. But like the way that my neighborhood is, there's like 3 streets that are kind of like all intertwined together. So my friend used to live right around the corner. But the rules, even at this time, were like to be home by the streetlights, right? And I knew this. And my mom, like, same. So I was around the corner with a boy.
Ooh,
and
not a boy.
Yes, because my friend's house around the corner, her mom used to be at work all the time. So I would just go over there and like eventually in certain things, my mom got hip. Like I had another friend whose mom used to always be gone and we used to go do things when we were like, and she ended up figuring that out. But anyway, I was around the corner and I like knew it was getting dark out, but like who wants to be the one to go home when the streetlights go on? Like no one else is going home. Like I don't want to go home either. So I just stayed. So we're like standing outside. I see my mother turning the corner.
Woo!
I didn't even let her get around the corner. I said, I gotta go. I gotta go. Because I knew that if she got around that corner and she was gonna see me talking to this boy around the corner, because my mom, I saw her. She was walking.
Oh,
and my mom has a quick pace. And I was like, she's gonna be here. And like I knew it. And I was like, okay guys, I have to go. Have a good night. I'll see you later. And I met her like around the corner. And as soon as she saw me, she was like, you are. And I was like, I know I'm coming. But like I have these memories of like I knew my mom was gonna like show up.
Yeah. My mom played.
One thing my mom will do is pull up, period. Doesn't matter.
She's going to pull up and she didn't play games.
No, completely.
You saying that story, I remember what I was going to say, but you saying that story about her about to turn the corner reminds me, like, even seeing her raise Chloe, my mom has a 3 count. 1, 2.
Don't get to 3.
Don't get to 3. Okay? If you want peace in the house, don't get to 3. That 3 count is serious. And to this day, Jessica, like you see how even that takes 3 seconds to say.
Me too.
So you be like,
are we in trouble? Is everybody in trouble?
No, that's real shit. But with her, it's really also just the structure. Like, even though my mom was so strict, very strict, like could not sleeping over people's homes or whatnot, she really stressed the importance of just having overall like structure. And I think it helps translate to just how I show up, but at the same time, like how I run my life to some degree and like day to day. And there's certain parts where I'm like, to this day, this big old age, I can't be at my mom's house and not make my bed. That's not a thing. Like my little sister called it out. Actually, I didn't make my bed for like 2 days Well, like 2 back-to-back days. I made it, but it wasn't to the point where Coco saw that it was made. And so she was like, Mom, I thought you don't like lazy people.
Oh.
I thought, you know.
Damn. What is it about little siblings that they always try to throw you under the bus?
I thought you don't like lazy people.
Jesus,
You're supposed
Chloe.
to make your bed. And she was like, you're right, Chloe. So she's like, go tell her something. So anyway, but yeah, I feel like you guys kind of touched on it, but like my mom really has exuberated both of those parts where it's like setting the stage and like the tone, like the level up and just going for after what you want. My mom is real like, that's you want it, go get it right now. And this is how you're going to do it. You know, there's it's a very can-do attitude. And I think it's helped build the confidence and just even how I show up in the workspace or just how I want to pursue business relationships and like with my people, like you need help with a tire? Hold on, I'll be tire rack real quick. I'm gonna get you the coupon in 2 seconds. Like we're about to get this done. And so just like little things, but really, yeah, we are very blessed to have the women that we have in our
that made
lives.
me think of one thing too. And one thing, because like my mom kept me in an activity, okay? One thing Alyssa was going to be doing is something, okay? We were not going to be home. We were playing piano, we were dancing, we were playing soccer, we were playing softball, we were playing basketball, we were playing everything. And so I remember like a few times like I didn't want to do something. Like I would be in this sport or in this thing that my mom put me in and I would want to quit. And she would be like, you don't quit. Like we finish. So even if you don't enjoy going, you don't have to do it next year. We don't have to sign up for the next session, but you're not going to stop. And I think that that's one thing, especially with a lot of kids that I work with now, is like they give up. They're like, well, I don't want to do it. And they just don't do it. And I think that one thing that and I'm not saying like you have to torture people, or kids, but I think that it just has really instilled in me like, yeah, you don't have to do this forever, but if you agree to something and if you signed up to do something, you finish it.
You commit to something.
You commit to something, you do it.
Yeah.
Sure. And I think that's one thing that is another thing in terms of like professionally and just in my life. If I show up, if I agree to do something, then I'll do it.
Yeah, my mom did. And as busy as she was, she definitely made sure that we were involved in like sports or something. Like I was in softball, I was in dance.
What position did you play in softball?
I played all of them,
Wow.
Except like the outfield. I was like, and catcher because there was so much equipment. Like I need to be seen, you know.
I didn't like catcher. I was a catcher.
All that equipment.
I'm gonna find that photo.
All that equipment. I was never trying to be under all that equipment in the summer.
In the heat.
In the heat,
like,
yeah.
And I was chubby too.
Yes,
like,
that,
what was
that
the
mask?
No.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
But like hearing you say catcher, that was a trigger for me.
Yeah, so I was in softball.
I remember that one summer.
I was in dance. I was in a few other things that I chose to be in throughout the years. But it's like as busy as my mom was, she also made it a priority to make sure that we were involved in things. And I think there's a reason behind that parents do that and we don't appreciate it as kids. No. But like you see kids now who are not involved in things and
don't have structure.
They don't have structure. They're getting in more trouble. And it's not even just the trouble, right? But it's like, it's like this.
Idle time is the double
Idle
word.
time is for sure, especially for kids that age. But it's also like those things teach you so much about how to interact with other people, how to be a team, like good sportsmen. You know what I mean? Like those activities taught me so much and I didn't realize, you know what I mean? Like until I look back now and I'm like, okay, you know, like, so definitely shout out to the moms. Shout out to all the moms. Shout out to our moms in particular.
Shout out to all the moms, right? Because
it's not easy. Moms have it. Even if whether you're a single mom or a stay-at-home mom, like I have one of my best friends, a stay-at-home mom. I don't want her like, I love her kids. But like it looks hard, you know what I mean? Hard. Like I see it and I'm like, shit. Like you think like being a stay-at-home mom sounds ideal, and it's like she just wants to talk to like an adult sometimes. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's like all she's talking to is her kids all day. Like it can drive you crazy. And so yeah, like being a mom isn't easy. Like moms take on so much. Like moms are really like unsung heroes for sure.
And the moms or the women who play that mother figure role. Yeah. Or not even mother figure, but have given us some kind of mother gift.
Absolutely.
I
have like work mothers. I work with majority of the women I work with. They're not a ton older than me. And in case they ever listen, I love you all. But they're older and have daughters either my age or younger. And so it really brings like a comfortable space for me to like talk about things, and if I'm having a bad day or if I'm having a tough time with a client or something, they just offer this like energy that certain people can't. Other people can't.
I have
moms
like,
just think of everything,
for
don't
sure.
they? Like my friends who are moms always have the
Everything.
snacks in their bags. They
All the
always
compartments and pouches and
or just the mom. I'm telling you, my mom Earth Angels. Like my second grade teacher, she happened to be a mom, but like she's someone that till this day, like I reach out to via Facebook. You know, like just because I there was a point in my life in which like she really impacted me until this day, and that's why like the lives, the people that you guys meet, the lives of the kids that you touch or whatnot. You know, they're gonna remember you.
I'm not helping any kids, but the kids will remember you.
Listen, it's wild.
But people, you know what I mean? The lives that you've touched too.
But the kid, like, I'm like, is something going on? Because just this week, like before I came here yesterday, what?
No, I was gonna say again. They asked.
Yes, like they keep asking me if I have kids or if I'm a mom. Like yesterday, I was in the hallway. We were in the hallway. I was walking to my office. I saw a student, and she just turns around. She goes, "Miss Sims." I'm like, "Yeah," and she's like, "Do you have a daughter?" And I was like, "Why? No." "Do you have a son?" "No." And I'm just like, never in my life have I been asked so many times if I have kids. And I don't know if it's just like an inquisitive spirit or if it's like, am I giving off this like mothering energy that's like making them feel comfortable? But it's shocking. I honestly am about to start taking a tally because it happens multiple times a week if the kids ask me if I have kids, and I'm like, this is getting weird. Like
they probably think of like, what would it be
something
like?
happening? I don't know.
They're probably like, what would it be like to be Miss Sims' child? Like Miss Sims is so, you know what I mean? Because I get like my sister's a wonderful mother, but like obviously all kids, you know,
they just wonder.
They want, like my nieces and nephews will sometimes be like, oh, I wish you were my mom, you know, like because like they see how I respond in certain environments or certain things, or like there's been times when like, you know, I remember my niece spilled purple nail polish all over my brand new cream carpet, and I was like, my reaction was just like, all right, we're done with this. You know, but it's like, but like she was bracing herself for her mom's reaction. Naturally, her mom should be pissed. Like, you know what I mean? She's spending all this money, but like auntie can have a different response. So I think sometimes the kids see that too, and they're like, I wonder what it would be like, or like, you know what I mean?
I'm not a disciplinarian to them. I'm not an authority figure. So it's a different relationship that we have. So they're often met with, because one of my kids spilled kinetic sand all over my floor yesterday, and I was like, okay. Here's a bag of pretzels. Have a great day.
You should have like, here's a broom and a dustpan, child.
Because I didn't have one in my room, but I definitely. But to your point, I maneuver those situations the same way. Like they're met with kindness
their mistakes,
every time.
Their accidents. Like, you know, the kids already. You can tell by their reaction. They already feel like.
That's because.
You know,
you guys get to send them back to where they came from.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah,
I was like, no, I have a dog though. They're fed up with seeing dog. They're like, we know you have a dog, Miss Sims. I'm like, you're rude, and Rosie thinks you're rude too. Okay, thank you. Look at the picture, get out of my face.
Gosh, the dogs.
Oh, right.
Crazy.
Definitely the dogs.
Well, all in all, shout out to all the moms, the mother figures. Yeah. You guys are appreciated. You're loved. I have a tribe of some wonderful women.
Absolutely.
Aunts.
Yeah.
I stole my sister's godmother, made her mine.
Also, like sending love to the women who maybe have had children and who are no longer with them, or maybe who miscarried and feel like really triggered on Mother's Day, because I know that comes up for a lot of people.
Or anyone
who
has
are
lost
trying.
their mother.
So sending love to anyone who's lost their mother, anyone who's trying to conceive and wants to, you know, just sending love, because
it could bring up a lot of feelings.
Yeah.
Sure.
Though that one single day, which is only 24 hours, but I'm sure there's a lot of emotions and feelings that can go behind that. So whether they're whichever way on the spectrum they go.
Yeah.
Thanks for bringing that up, Sam.
Yeah,
for real.
of course.
Let's take a moment, let the people acknowledge that.
Yeah.
All right.
What we got next?
Wow.
I think we wanted to talk about our journey to Jesus.
G-O-D. Are you down with G-O-D? Yeah, you know me. I've been wanting to sing all day, and Akil's going to cut my mic off if I try to sing.
I got melodies from heaven.
Listen, because let me tell you something about gospel music. It'll take you. It takes me. Okay?
Melodies from heaven.
Never would have made it.
We're singing 3 different songs. It doesn't matter. That's how we're touched, the spirit, the gospel.
You're lucky I don't have my go out.
Go out. No. Yeah, no, but I think it's important, especially at this point in the podcast, to just kind of plug the fact that we are all very spiritual people. We have our own individual relationships with God. We have different ways of how we got there. We have different ways of how we maintain it. But I think it's something for all three of us that plays an integral part in our day-to-day life. When Jess had mentioned earlier that I meditate with God every morning. That's something that I've never really started to do up until maybe the last couple months, really, is to take the first like 5 minutes or 10 minutes of my morning to just pray and sit in meditation and just have a moment with God. This week was a little bit rough, and there was one day, and I just like knew it, and I was overslept. That's what it was. I would normally get up at 6:30. I must have snoozed because my mom got me some melatonin, and I don't know what she put in that melatonin, but I was rocked.
Laura said, you're going to sleep deeply tonight.
Honey, you take your melatonin? I'm like, yes. So I snoozed, whatever. I got up at 7, and I was like, that's like late. Like I should have already been showered, whatever. So I got up, started the shower, and I was like, oh, I didn't meditate. And I was like, I don't really have time, but I'm like, I need to. So I just took like a 3-minute, 4-minute, just like, okay, and it set the intention for the day. And since I've started doing that, I've noticed that I move through my days and through difficult spaces a lot easier than I have previously, because I've really set it before God that day. And whatever's going to happen, I'm okay with, because God's going to see me through it. So I think that, and I grew up in the church. I mean, like I mentioned, my parents are still extremely active in our church. My dad is the AV guy. Can't have a Sunday without Charles, okay?
Wow.
My mom's like, I don't know if she's currently teaching Bible study, but she's done VBS for years, which is a vacation Bible school. So I grew up I went to actually my one and only camp experience, which was a church camp. When I was in 5th grade, maybe 6th grade. I don't remember, but it was like a 3 or 4 day thing. Absolutely hated it. Not because it was a church camp. I just hated camp. I was like, this is not for me. But it was a cool experience. But I say all that to say I've been very ingrained. I went to church every Sunday until I got to high school. And then I started working at Dairy Queen. So I'm not even going to lie. I did. I am the Dairy Queen.
The Dairy Queen.
But I would pick up Sunday shifts because, like, by that age, it started to feel like it was forced on me because I had to go every Sunday. It was like, wake up, we go to church. But I also think, in hindsight, it instilled in me so many things and really provided such a community to me that I didn't realize that I had. And so, but at the time when I was a kid, it felt so forced that I didn't really embrace it the way that I should have probably. And I was like always the one that was like, I'm never gonna make my kids go to church. Guess what, kiddos, in the future, we going to church, okay? Like, and so coming out of that, like once I was able to start making my own decisions in high school and in college and things like that, I definitely found myself steering more away from traditional church experiences because, again, the ones that I had, not that they were bad, but they weren't my choice. So even now, I don't go to a formal church in DC. And my grandparents, my parents, did you find a church yet? Because they definitely want me to. And it's interesting because my brother, my dad, and I were having a conversation the last time that I was home. And because my brother does not attend a regular church either. And so, but I am very active in, like I said, my relationship with God, whatever that looks like. Like I have a devotional, I have a Bible, I pray. Like I have my own relationship with God. It's just not in a building. And one thing my dad said that was very interesting was just be like, church helps you learn how to apply it. So while we might get all this information from the Bible and from our own like experiences, church assists us in how we translate that into our day-to-day life. And I think looking back on sermons and how it really teaches you how to take some of these things from the Bible that may be abstract in some way, how to apply it to a real life scenario, or how to really have it show up in your day-to-day life, or what it means to live a faithful life. And I just thought that was so interesting because I was like, yeah, I have a relationship with God. Like, what are you talking about? My dad was like, okay, but what are you doing with it? And I was like, damn. Another moment. I can't handle a lot of those lately. But it was, and I just think that over time, especially more recently, I've had experiences where I had no choice but to put my faith in God. whether that be getting through grief or getting through a traumatic experience or getting through, you know, having a hard time at work. It's just to stay faithful and just know the tides are always going to turn and that you're never alone. Mm-hmm. And I also was recently having this conversation with somebody that has no faith, which is a deal breaker for me, by the way, in a relationship. Cannot be with someone that is not a God-fearing man. But this was not a romantic conversation. This was just a platonic conversation. And one thing that he said was, it seems like people that have faith are happier because they have something to believe in. Preach, preacher. Can somebody? Honestly. Is the choir here?
Melodies from heaven.
No, I've been talking a lot, but I'm just kind of sharing with you guys some of the, especially the more recent experience that I've had with it. And even though I think for tangibly, it's hard for people to believe in certain things because it's not something you can hold, touch, see, feel, smell. Mm-hmm. So it feels hard for us as tangible people that like to touch things and feel things and know that it's there. You're essentially putting your faith in the unknown or the unseen, which is hard for us to do. But I'll tell you what, it works every time, sweetie.
It sure does.
Because I'll tell you what, my God delivers.
Sure does. Yeah. It's interesting because although I grew up knowing God, and I grew up, I should say, that a God exists. And I went to Catholic school from pre-K to 8th grade. And so being at a Catholic school, you're at church first Friday of the month, you have to go to church every Sunday, etc. But when you share kind of like growing up in the church and going with your family, that wasn't something that I did. When I had to do it, I did every single sacrament, confirmation, what is it? All of them. Communion.
I would say I did them too. I actually don't know. I'm like
I took a confirmation.
I know that I got the bread. Yeah. I got the bread, okay?
And so, but growing up, it was Catholic church. Mm-hmm. But I wasn't going with my parents. And my grandmother, whenever I spent my summers in the Dominican Republic growing up, but also when she would visit, like if I slept over with my grandmother, we would always pray at night. And so just knowing that there was something for me to believe in and that God, so there's this man that I need to fear, could be God-fearing in a way, and I can pray to if I'm feeling sad or whatever the case may be. Yeah. And, but it was like after I did all of my wonderful sacraments at Catholic school, to your point of as you get to the age where you're kind of like these things kind of feel forced on you, and they did feel forced because it wasn't something that I was being guided on. Mm-hmm. It was just you would being go told to the church. To do it, yeah. And so if you know the Catholic Church, it's one of those things where for me I just wasn't resonating with it, and it wasn't really until college that I was dating someone and their mom had taken me to the church, and they would take me to like various like service kind of things, different services. And there was one time she took me to this church and they were catching the Holy Spirit and the Holy Ghost. And I said, I don't know if this is the type of, I was like, this isn't the church for me.
Wait a damn minute.
But it was interesting because her bringing me to the services was really like, to some degree, like God trying to find a way to reintroduce me to build and cultivate a relationship with him. Because I wouldn't say it was really post-college that I actually started to build a relationship with God and what did building look like. So now it was, for me, it was, I had a desire and interest in going or finding a church. Mm-hmm. And so when she brought me to, when people were catching the Holy Ghost, I will never forget this story. I'm not kidding. The pastor like calls people up to line up and he's praying over everybody. And I promise you, he was praying next to, I'm telling you, a woman had her head down. His hand was over her head. He then comes to me and I'm literally talking to God and I'm like, God, I'm not ready. I'm not ready to drop down. I'm not ready to catch the Holy Ghost. Like, this ain't it right now. Like, I'm just here
put
being
the brakes
respectful.
On it. I just my break time.
I was like, I'm not
Take it easy on me.
Scary as the person next to me drops down to the ground. I said, I gotta go.
Oh my God.
So
did you drop down?
I asked God not to let me.
Okay. I just needed to know. I needed to know, did you drop down or not? Okay, God kept you lifted.
A Kodak moment. Dear God.
God, help me find myself up. Right, please. And so I knew that wasn't a church for me. I don't know what kind of church that was, but that wasn't it. Anyway, so randomly I end up Googling and I end up finding a church, and I end up finding Christ Church in Jersey. And I went through a period where I started going to even church alone. And I was going to church by myself, and I started, to your point, the sermon of how to apply a lot of the way that a lot of their sermons and how the pastor provides the message every single Sunday has to do with also applying it to your everyday life. So, and also the way it was being sent to me. And so I was receiving it in a way that felt productive, and it introduced me to like a new way of cultivating a relationship with God and what that could look like for me. Yeah. And it got to the point where I was just like, life, to your point, got better. When I think of the highs in my life and in the moments where even what can seem low, when I had God close to me, the day-to-day never felt as long as it did without him. And that's something that I was able to recognize when I look back. I'm like, yeah, 2018, that was an excellent year. You know why? He was real tight with God. Yeah. The moment I started veering off, he definitely, I say in a couple episodes ago how much grace he gives us. But anyway, once I started like going to church, at the end of this specific service, they ask you like if you've ever wanted to kind of rededicate your life to God in a sense, and you say a quiet prayer to yourself. And I happened to be like, I decided to like do that, and I had rededicated my life in 2018, like, actively like, okay, this is what I want to pursue you, and I want to know what it is to pursue you. So that's really what my journey since then has been, on and off. I wouldn't say I went through a period of like consistent attending church, and then I sidetracked. But one of the things that I will say that has been beautiful in my journey has been that one day I decided to bring my mom to my church. And my mom, I'm telling you, I didn't grow up going to church, and my mom wasn't someone that was going to church at Sundays at all. And it got to the point where my mom started going to church more than me.
Without you? Yeah.
And without me.
Wow.
And so it's been dope to also see how God's maneuvered through me to her, and how she's being able to now show up for herself and build her own relationship. So that's just a little recap of my journey with God.
Mine is interesting too, because I feel like I wouldn't even say I grew up in a Catholic church. I feel like my life is like could be defined by all of these different extremes. Like there was my dad who was like an atheist. Like even if you ask him today, he doesn't believe in a God. Like I don't know what he believes in. God bless him, but he doesn't believe. He's an atheist. My mom thought it was the right thing to do. She was like, we grew up in the hood. My mom was trying to make us like out of our class. We're gonna be middle class, y'all. Okay, so we're going to be lower middle class, and we are going to go to this Catholic church. And so that was what people did, though. People sent their kids to Catholic church. So my family didn't go to church. But my mom constantly sent me to these Sunday schools and these Saturday schools. And, like, for me, same, and this is no disrespect to anyone who is deeply religious in Catholicism, but it didn't resonate with me at all. I couldn't even hear what they were saying. Still to this day, if you go to a Catholic, what are you saying? Yeah. They mumble.
Or like the having to like get on your knees, stand up, the constant back and forth. Yeah.
I don't do any of that because I'm not Catholic.
Yeah, so it's just weird. It just never made sense. And I mean, that's not to say like still to this day I'll say a St. Anthony prayer if I lose something. Like, you know what I mean?
On one leg.
Right. Like I still got some things.
I didn't even know. I think you guys introduced me to St. Anthony prayer because I never even heard of it. I was like, what the hell is this? St. Anthony who?
Catholic thing. I don't know, but I found things when I said it. So I just continue to say it. Like I don't know what St. Anthony's role is besides to help me find things, but
shout out to St. Anthony.
Shout out to St. Anthony.
He's gonna help you find it, girl.
But so like there was that experience which never resonated me at all. Like, my mom didn't even force me to go to church. It was like like maybe on Easter, but again, that was like the right thing to do. The appropriate thing to do was like, you're gonna go to church on Easter and on Christmas. She wouldn't even go. She would send us. I'm like, you need to be saved, but whatever. So like none of that ever resonated with me. But then also there was my father's mother had like a really big impact on me from a very early age, and she left us when I was 12. So it was a very short period of time, but she lived a really, really rough life. And suffice to say, essentially, she turned her whole entire life around because at the hands of God. So I also had this really powerful example of my grandmother. She would teach me about God, and sometimes she would bring me to church, but mostly she would speak about what he meant to her and how he changed her life. And if you let my dad tell it, he's got horror stories of growing up, and as he should. He had a rough childhood. Yeah. But like, I saw a completely different person. Who I saw is still an angel to this day, like just an angel. And so her impact, like how God impacted her, was really profound. And so I've always had these questions of like atheists, Catholics, not right. Also, they do some weird shit in there, let's just be honest. I always felt that. The energy was always bad in there. And then my grandmother, who was really impacted by Christianity and the way God moved in her life. And growing up, you start to have these questions of like, what is God? Who is God? And I started to like, as like a high schooler, I was just curious. I'm like, what are these other religions? Who is Buddha? Who is, you know? And so I just found myself curious. But I wouldn't say God started moving in my life really like 7, 8 years ago. Like kind of, I mentioned it on the last pod when we did my episode. It was like I was just randomly doing something in my house, and all of a sudden like Joel Osteen pops on. That's where abundance came from. Y'all, abundance came from that message that I heard. He was like, God doesn't want you to live. Like I was in a place where it just resonated with me. I was just like struggling, and he was like, God doesn't want this for you. God wants everything abundant for you. And like I would always feel guilty, like, well, I'm not a good person. I want to be like, even if I wasn't Christian or religious, I wanted to be a good person because I wanted God to know. I wanted to be, you know what I mean? Like I believe that what you do comes back to you, you know?
Karma.
So yeah, I just wanted to be like a good person, but yeah, God was speaking, and I thought like you couldn't be rich and a good person, but like God is like, no, I want you to be rich.
Yes.
Like
I don't ever want you to lack.
I don't, yeah, I never,
Yeah.
in every sense. And so I think that was one of the moments he really, like I mentioned, it was like really through my finances, like he knew how to reach me. It was like, you got to go through me in a different way. But I think the other way that God has really reached me, which has been impactful for me, is how he moves through everybody else. So like I've had these examples of people like Alyssa, you've always been one of them, of like you never pushed God on me, but naturally and organically sometimes your faith would come up, right? And like there were other people in my life too where it just naturally and organically came up, like how they were living in faith, and no one ever pushed it on me. And I don't know, like kind of all happened at the same time where I was seeing God move in other people, or just like how other people kind of, I don't know even know what the word is, but like sort of leaned on their faith. And I wanted that. And
Well, I
yeah.
have a question, two-part, because I like that you shared, and I feel like I would like for all of us to kind of share that, is the piece of like how has God shown up for you, just like one way in which God has shown up for you recently. But yeah, if you can, dang, I lost my train of thought.
I think that's a good question though. Like, what way has God like shown up for us? And I think that this is a perfect example of how God has shown up for us. I was talking to the girl who did my makeup today. Hey, Ashley. About she just shared that that our platform has kind of, got her thinking about some things that she wanted to do on like YouTube, and like how she, hasn't really been sure. And I just reminded her, I said, God doesn't plant these seeds for no reason. If it is something that she's like, I feel like it's haunting me, I'm like, it is.
Yeah.
Like God, I don't believe, and I've said this before, I just don't believe anything is on accident. I don't believe, and I just believe that if God plants the seed, it's not for a reason. I never wanted to be a professional soccer player. Why? Because that wasn't for me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I wasn't going to be a chef because it wasn't for me, but there are other things that are for me. And the things that are for me have always come to me, been presented to me, and worked out for me. And that's because their God hasn't intended it. And God, to me, figured all of this shit out before we even got here. Like, all of it was written. So I just lean into that the most, is like knowing that this isn't even up to me.
Yeah.
None of it is. So I just surrender to whatever it is that it's supposed to be, because none of this is my decision to make. It was written. God already figured out who we were. So for me, it's just, I think it works in my life every single day because.
Yeah. No, I agree with what you both shared. And just to add on, I feel like for me, one of the things that has surfaced, that I've realized throughout this year, is how much more comfortable I am in expressing and speaking more about God. And so like the prayers that I voice now, like I'm a shy prayer. If you put me on the spot to pray, like, oh gosh, like that's really difficult. I will shrink.
Yeah.
But one of the things that like I'm finding more so is like reaching out to the both of you and sending that prayer. And to me, it's more
Yeah.
practicing the way that I pray, because I feel like
Yeah.
some people are such great, profound prayers. You know, seriously.
She's a
like
prayer leader.
some folks, the words just flow, and
Look,
I'm like, man.
you've seen me try to pray.
But-
God is great. God is good. Let us
Jesus'
thank Him
name,
for our
amen.
food. Amen.
But they call my mom Reverend Laur in my family because let me tell you, she's gonna have us
She'll
all there.
definitely have a good prayer. But I feel that it's part of it is also having like, it's been a blessing in disguise because we never really spoke about God amongst ourselves. You know what I mean? We kind of held, I don't feel like my college days when we were, you know,
God was not a part of my vocabulary.
at all. But the thing with, sorry, let me backtrack. What I appreciate most is just the fact that we're now at a point where we realized, we acknowledge, not even realize, we're acknowledging the things that are most important for us, the foundation, and just how we're able to kind of intertwine that within our relationship. So the fact that like we are sharing a devotional of the day, or we are sharing what the God message, or what you felt just came
There's a lot
to
of
you.
God in our group chat.
Yeah, there is.
Yeah.
And so, and the prayers that come about, and also just taking that moment, like we're speaking about it and we're sharing our tips. We don't put it on each other, but we'll shed light on it from a loving and kind perspective. So that's how I feel recently God has shown up for me in that way with you guys, through you, y'all.
Yeah, that's powerful.
Love it. All right.
Well, it's been another one.
Another
Oh yeah, we have a church.